Hi, my name is Kevin McDonald, and I'm declaring my independence. Independence from what? Why, negative thoughts and energy, of course. Chief among them, hate, division, and fear. You see, I know that we're all one, and together we can solve any problem, save our planet and each other. Please, join me as we come together as one and choose a better way to be. So now, let's begin with my independence report. Handsome picture. Who is that guy? I'm not sure Regan's ready for this. I'm in a playful mood today, so you better watch out. By the way, this is Life Between Lives, and Reagan Forston is the psychic. Hold on. Is a psychic hypnotherapist, and Natasha Venter is a hypnotherapist medium.
Now flip everything around and say, and I'm the medium, intuitive personal awareness coach, and Regan is the hypnotherapist, and he's actually intuitive too. We're just convincing him that he is.
Yeah, I wish I'd have said that. So, hi guys, how we doing today?
Real good.
Really good. Honoring. I've been doing a lot of honoring, especially since last night, just really kind of going through that honoring of what today was about, and then just honoring the moments that we're in.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't think of it till just now. Just last night, I watched Hacksaw Ridge for the third time.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's Clint Eastwood, isn't it?
It's what? No. It's well, it's the true story about something Doss. His last name was Doss, where he felt he needed to join the military, but to do his part. But he was a Seventh-day Adventist, and because of what happens in his life earlier, he swore to God that he would never touch a gun, never do anything to harm anybody.
That's right.
Yeah, and then it's just done so well. It's just shown, like, if you have beliefs and you stick to them, miracles can kind of happen. When they're put to the good side of life. And for anybody who hasn't seen that, I mean, there's the war scenes in it are over the top graphic, but to just give you a feeling of how horrible war is, but to see this man that was so selfless and wouldn't pick up a gun, and he's right in the middle of the fight with everybody, and he's just there to try to save people.
He becomes a medic. So
yeah, becomes a medic, right? And that's what. And they tried to get him out. They tried to drum him out of the service, but his buddies in the barracks beat him up really bad, and they gave him all the awful chores to do. They canceled his leave, so he couldn't even get to his wedding on time. But luckily, some general high up sent a letter at his court-martial and said, "Look, the Constitution says that you cannot drum somebody out of the service just because of their beliefs." So that was good, because that's what our country stands for. So even though the other tough guys over there didn't like him or anything, but then in the middle of this horrible battle that was real, Hacksaw Ridge, and you think these guys had to climb up this cliff and attack the Japanese, and they got repelled 6 different times. Then it's like, here we go again. He's got to go up there now for the first time, and he's just, he sees the horrors of war firsthand and how horrible it is, and he just does the job. And then one night they get kicked off the ridge, and he hides and stays there. And during the night, just during the night, he crawled back through all the dead people, even with the Japanese coming up and making sure everybody's dead. He hid, and he saved 75 soldiers that he roped down this steep cliff, down to the people below, all by himself, and he just kept saying, as he would get one down, he's totally exhausted, and he would say, "God, one more, just one more." And he would go back and save another life, So
nobody used to watch the movie.
It's a great movie. Yeah, even if I told you the whole story, but people know going in that it's a true story and kind of what it's about. But it's done very well, acted very well, and Mel Gibson's the one that produced it.
Oh, yes.
I think that was maybe a step for him to get back, to where people will, see him again after him being kind of ostracized for so many years.
Yeah, there's a couple of things he needs to correct before they really do that. But Natasha had an interesting take on Memorial Day that I'd like to explore a little bit, Natasha.
Yes, well, I know that us in the United States have not always looked the best in other people's eyes. And I mean this with love. And I know, though, that through this whole world, we all have someone that has done something that walked through that last minute fear and did something miraculous to save someone. And this could be someone in a war scene. This could be someone who just was, I don't want to call him a hero, but throughout this world, we have people who right now are in the fight for their life. And they are standing strong against others for the greater good. And I want this to go around the world of just having this remembrance for the people who tried to do better for their countries and for their own individual people around them. And that, to me, is what Memorial Day is about the honoring of, yes, the military. Yes, the ones that, I just right now am picturing the generations of wars, and even the 16-year-old in the Civil War. I'm getting just this big image of him being a 16, 15, 14-year-old kid who went against his family's wishes and fought for the side of freedom. And he stood there in fear as the bullet hit him, because he knew it was the right thing to do. And that is the moment that I want to honor these people who have stood in that fear-based moment, coming off the ships, knowing that as soon as they hit the beach in Normandy, that they were going to be slaughtered, basically. But yet they walked through, and I even posted about this in my inspirational quotes, that walk through the fear to say, I'm here for the greater good.
It's amazing that these kids are 18, 19, 20. Regan, I don't know about you, but I'm not so sure that I'd be excited about being on one of those landing craft and going to Omaha Beach, knowing that you're about to die. I don't know if I got the kind of courage that these people.
I can't even comprehend that. That's what Tony, Crazy Tony, spent the last week here. Yeah, with my good friend Tony. He's in the middle of so much stuff right now, and he just before I forget, I said, "You remember the stuff Natasha told you?" And he says, "Yeah, she told me to grow up." So he got it. And he's kind of. I think he's kind of. I felt a more spiritual side to him than I ever have before, and I heard some more of his stories, and I didn't know some of the crazy things behind it, and how he's talked his way out of so many difficult situations by just being really honest with people up front about stuff and trying to get them to, turn these cartel guys around into doing something nice for a change, guys that he was prisoner of and stuff. So anyway, but after the Hacksaw Ridge, Tony and I were talking and says, I think each of us inside, when we watch these, part of us feels like, yeah, that would be me. If this happened in that situation, I'd be this brave guy and everything, but I kind of doubt that, I think it would be, who knows, it would be, it just seems like, wow, some people just have this selfless something, or I don't know how you explain it, but I think with Doss in this thing, because of his love and him trying to do the right thing, that the other side really kind of watched after him, a little bit, because of, like he could dodge some bullets just because energetically, he was rejecting all the bullets somehow. I don't know, but it's just a miracle, and so many soldiers have done that. But what got me thinking that, though, too, is like, say when we're fighting the Japanese or the Germans, the average guy that's in the military there is convinced that his side is the good guys, And so in their heart, what they're doing, and like if you looked at war stories from the Germans, you're going to find so many of the German soldiers that have these miraculous stories where they did these heroic things from their side and they saved their buddies from being killed or whatever, because the average guy isn't aware of all the politics involved.
Mm-hmm.
All they're going is by what they're told, and so they're fighting for motherland, like we were fighting. So we each think that the other's the bad guys. Like the Japanese just thought we were, because of their upbringing, an inferior race. That they were, that they were their god, their emperor, and everything was leading a righteous thing. So, and each side did the really bad, horrible things too. I mean, it's just human beings. It's like if you take it back further, that's tribe against tribe. The Indians, here in America, just so many of them thought they were the best tribe, and they would try to take over the other tribes. So, if we look at it from human nature, it's interesting from soul point. How the common guy just does what he's told in a way, and that's his life.
I'm going to throw a couple of statistics out at you because I want both of your opinions, and Natasha, especially you from the mediumship side, and that is that there have been in uniform in the United States 19 million people over the last 200 years. 19 million souls have been in the military. 2.5 million of those people have died in service to the military. Wow. And currently we have in the veterans that we are honoring today, being that it's Memorial Day, there are 6,000 veterans a year that are taking their own lives. That's 16 a day are killing themselves because of PTSD and the things that they went through, and the things that you are mentioning, Regan, about that movie and the death and destruction that they saw. I saw a man blow his head off when I was 22, and that stayed one guy, and that stayed with me for 20 years. I could no longer enjoy 4th of July because he decided to go out with a bang. But so Natasha, talk about that and the state of what happens to people when they go, and how we need to figure out a way to help these guys.
Yes. I so want everyone to know that no matter what your personal story is, that there is so much love for you, and that as we go through life, and so what I have an understanding is that, I have had a past life where I was an angel on a war field, where I was helping people who were alive back to the I'm sorry, I'm in the moment of seeing things, so words are going to be kind of elusive. To the dugout, no, not the dugout,
the trenches.
The trenches, and or helping the souls. And I can see what I did to support them. Basically, my wings went around every single one of them that I could. And my angel wings went around them. And I saw other angels. I see other angels wrapping wings around 9/11, the angel, immense amount of angels that were there to support and show love to these souls that were passing. It doesn't matter when there's passing. There's this immense amount of love that is wrapped around these souls to take them to their place for greaterness, to shift into their knowing why things were happening.
Yeah. And when I visited the afterlife for the second time a couple months ago, I think I mentioned too that the beings on the other side said, don't worry about these, all the people like 9/11 that died and the COVID that died. Says they're doing just fine. They're not dead. They're just over here. So they're doing fine. We miss them and all that. There's so much sorrow in that part of it here, but because some people think they're gone forever. They're just dust, but no, they're there. They're just over there. They're doing okay. But still, that doesn't make anything that happened right. Here down here doesn't excuse anything. I wanted to, anybody watching this too. I mean, not just for me to help you, but just to find a good therapist in your area. PTSD is actually, they have some new modern techniques now which can help you almost bring you back to normal. Mm-hmm. And if you go to my website, you'll see a video on there of 4 soldiers that are they're like this with the PTSD so severe. And we use EFT, which is this tapping, which may sound silly, but I've had clients and everything like this, and right before my eyes, I see a lot of their PTSD just disappear. Mm-hmm. And with a few sessions, a lot of them are like back to normal again, or pretty much to normal. So, and you're going to see those 4 veterans that are on that video tip. It's about a 20-minute thing, and it's kind of awful to kind of listen to what they have to go through, but hang in there, because you're going to see them go from this to this, and where they're able to talk about the issues and everything. And then we check with them months later, and they've kept most of the gains that they had. So there is help out there. But here's what I found out physiologically, what they're saying happens. And that's why most of these suicides are from guys my age, more than the young ones, because in your brain, the neural pathways that are damaged because of this horrible things that you saw, as you get older and you don't do anything about it, it just festers in there. Mm-hmm. These neural pathways that are in there as you get older, start hijacking the healthy neural pathways in your mind until you just can't take it anymore. So anybody watching this, if you care about yourself at all and your family or anything, search out a good EFT. It's emotional freedom technique, or EMDR. It's a crazy thing where you move your eyes back and forth as you're talking about mm-hmm. your issue, and it's going from right brain, left brain, right brain, left brain. You're talking about issue, and this part that you're holding on to from your PTSD just dissipates. And one of the number one things being used with veterans now, the EFT and the EMDR, they're kind of sister to each other. They work kind of the same way. But the EFT, you can learn to do it yourself, and you can do some of your own therapy too. So if you go to my website and if I'm not in your area or something like that, it could maybe help refer you to a good therapist, because there is help out there. You're not just stuck with it. And don't be like, oh, I'm such a man that I don't need any help. Mm-hmm. Where does that get you? You look at your life right now, because you haven't got any help, because you have your ego involved, and you think you're less than a man because you need to have some therapy. Look at your life right now, and you're going to see that's not working. So
the sad part is they're told that.
Yeah, because there's help out there. There's no sense. And if you're the relative of one, have them go. It's visittheafterlife.com, but you go to the section that says EFT. It's for regular therapy, my regular therapy client, EFT and hypnosis. And actually hypnosis works really, really good too. So there is help out there. But I stayed with one gentleman for, this is the one who said I could stay in his beach house in Mexico if I helped him with his PTSD. I said, sure. I thought I'd be there a week or two, and I could help him. And we went 15 minutes into a session, and he goes, that's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. And I said, okay, expecting him to want another session in a day or two or whatever. He only wanted 2 15-minute sessions in a year and a half. I was in his beach house standing there for free. I wrote, 3 or 4 books while I was there, because there's nothing else to do except enjoy the ocean and the peace and quiet there. But he wasn't ready yet. He just thought, I can't face this or whatever. Emotionally, it only hurts for a minute. And you say, well, I don't want to face those emotions. You're facing those emotions every day subconsciously. Every day you're going through this. Well, so why not just one more day, and then kind of get it less and less, and kind of be done with it, get your life back. So no excuses.
Well, and that's the thing that, the old saying for PSD was shell shocked.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think that even says more than what PSD does, because shell shocked, it's actually the brain gets shocked, and there's almost like a print in that brain mode, and it's hard to move forward out of it, because it's like it's such an imprint. And it doesn't matter if you're in the military or not. When you're going through a life-altering experience, like for me, with going through the death of my parents within such a short time, there was part of that I had to work through. So it's not necessarily just military, but military or going through a life trauma, the brain gets it's a concussion. The brain just gets jarred so badly that it loses its synapses to wire right. And I'm not a medical doctor. It's just what I'm seeing in a brain. And it's just like, instead of it's like, it's just shooting off, and you have to do something to navigate through it. But I'm going to tell people that as sad and as hard and as the mind is repeating constantly, you're waking up in the middle of the night sitting straight up because this trauma won't let you move through it. As soon as you do move through a form of it, it shifts. It really does shift, and life does become, I don't want to call it walkable, but more navigational. And when we're doing that, it's a blessing to be vulnerable enough in ourselves to say, I need some support because I want to live. And I would understand that some of these souls, okay, and I mean this with love, some of these souls that did not pass on the war fields, they feel like they're out of their own timeline because some of them survived miraculous something.
Yeah, survivor's guilt.
And it's survivor guilt, but it's kind of different because I'm talking about the soul here.
Okay.
The soul has different timelines that it's supposed to leave or has opportunity to leave. And there's some souls come into these wars and they feel like that this is their time to go. And then they don't. And so the soul kind of has this kind of like lost emotion to it for a while until it says, oh, okay, this is why I'm here now. Because the brain and the soul are kind of detached because of the shell shock. And so there's this navigation, and it's interesting when I see these people, what their souls, it's an interesting balance when they're that deep into PST, that their souls are looking different. It's a different navigation with their bodies, and I can see why some don't end up making it, because when the soul and the body are in a different format, there's not this working together to live. It's kind of like they're just off a little bit, and it's just kind of interesting.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kev.
I was just going to say, Regan, Michael Newton talks about this in his books, about how the energy can get misplaced and misaligned during a traumatic event, which doesn't allow it to flow naturally. Do you remember those passages within the book?
Yeah, I've read his book several times, but I don't remember that, but that's correct. That's what the tapping does, is it realigns things. It's like if someone's gone through this awful stuff, what I like to use, and like what Natasha and I are good at, we kind of look at a holistic approach. The physical self, because the body has energy running through, so you have to get that straightened, and then from there you can find out more, like find out, okay, why did I have to go through that? And you go to the higher thing. That's where, with some of my clients with the PTSD, or women that have, have PTSD from the way they've been treated, assaulted, or different, through violence or rape or incest or something, and they have PTSD just like a soldier does. Okay, so I try to have them look at it. It's like you've got this beautiful white, beautiful Rolls-Royce car. That's your soul, as you have. And as you're driving down the street, some kid throws a rock and puts a dent in the side, and then you're going down over here and someone crashes into your car from the side, and then pretty soon your windshield gets broken from something. So if you don't fix those things, pretty soon you got this beautiful car driving down the road, which is you. And if you kind of, in the day, you're going, ooh, and you start looking at those things, you start feeling bad because your car's all messed up, and you spend your whole day, as you come out from the grocery store and you're walking up to your car, there's all these dings and dents and everything in it, and you're going, man, I'm a mess. And they feel like they can't do anything about it. So what you can do about it, and what Natasha or I can help you in the ways that we do this, is to realize, for one thing, why you got the dents, like what happened that in a sense you had to go through this, and having that awareness of why you have the dents. A lot of times you go, now I know, doing the physical thing, like doing the tapping with the EFT will help your physical body pop out a lot of the dents, because it'll balance your energy and everything. So pretty soon, if you do a little bit of work, even just doing the EFT is fine, even if you don't do the spiritual work. But I try to get my clients to keep looking at the higher picture and go, well, let's find the, like you have a headache and you take an aspirin and your headache goes away. Okay, fine. But why did you have the headache? So that you don't have to keep going through all these headaches in the past. So, or Natasha can help you by maybe seeing a past life and say, well, so I don't want to just keep taking too much time here, but let's go on and talk about some more. And I'll tell you about a case I had that when this guy got the higher viewpoint, how it helped him emotionally understand a lot of things in his life.
Well, and that's the thing is that we're all connected. It's all connected.
Yeah.
Even like right now, my I went to my naturopath and my liver is kind of saying, hey, and so I'm working with my foods, yes, but I'm also like working. I have a healing technique that I hold fingers and there's certain pressure points and stuff like that. Acupressure, it's ginseng, but the simple effect is holding certain fingers and it helps you through it. And so I've been holding the fingers so that the energy of my body can realign and support the food, the mindset, and doing those types of things. And it's simple to do those things, but it is knowing that we're all interwoven. And that's the thing about Memorial Day that I'm getting this big picture of, that it's so interwoven on how, we have the right hand that thinks one way, the left hand that thinks the other way. But at the same time, though, it's the greater purpose of why are we here? It's like people always ask me, well, where did this start? I said, well, back when we were before cavemen, because one thing decided this and one thing decided that, and then there was the battle. And it just was part of us being on this planet to learn how to navigate together a little differently.
But we don't navigate very well together at all these days. I wanted to ask both of you, when you're in a very traumatic situation and your soul, which can actually physically be damaged, which isn't the energy that comes through you, it's your actual soul. How do you restructure and to get that back and to at least work to heal it as best it can? Natasha?
Well, sorry, I got distracted by Sue put in something here. Yeah, she did.
Let's read that first.
Okay.
Natasha, if somebody's soul's meant for them to cross over, but they survive, will they not seek out treatment and healing? Will they just reject everybody who reaches out to help them?
Yes. And yes.
And by the way, yes again.
That the many times, and this is where grief gets really tricky to navigate through. And grief sneaks in and is presented in many different ways. It could be just the grief of survivor's guilt, the grief of watching someone pass, the grief of why didn't I die? Why didn't I die? And as we go through these different moments, that our soul wants us to get help. Our soul calls for us to get help. But the human mind and the human body sometimes does something different. And when I'm talking about the human body, it's about the addictions that happen. There's these things that happen and the body gets into these circles of, and it could be drugs, but it could be even just sweets. It could be just something else that we get into that pulls us off our soul's alignment to get help and get support. And many of us, we start listening to the belief systems of our old people. It's like a lot of families, they've heard, oh, getting help from a psychologist, that's for sissies, or going and talking to a friend. That's not the guy's way. I'm going to bully my way through. And I'm sorry, guys. It's just an observation here,
True.
That it's just, women, we have an easier way of talking. Yet at the same time, though, many women sabotage the other women. So we don't want to be vulnerable with our friends, because that means that somebody might actually call me out and tell me I'm stupid, because that happens. It's just that moment, but that's where walking through. And if we listen to life, and I pray that this can happen, we do end up finding that path to get support when we need it. Sometimes it's just a year later than what everybody else thinks we should.
Yeah, and there is help out there. When I've seen it right before my eyes, where people are like at a 10 on their issue, and then within an hour they're down to a 3 or 4, or some 0, and then their issue is done. It doesn't come back again. I mean, that's, I say, just screaming to people like, help is out there, And some people think, I was in this car accident, I almost died, and they don't think that they have PTSD. They think, only soldiers that go over in a war are the only ones that have this kind of thing. No, if you've been in a bad accident, or you've been attacked or mugged or something, or some emotional event that really shook your system, then your system's, the way I kind of describe it, because we don't know exactly how it works. We just know that it does work when you do the tapping or you're doing the hypnosis. It's like when you got in the accident, it's like you're just, everything's just fine. You're driving down the road and somebody, T-bones you or something. You don't even see it, and it just happens. It's like a grenade goes off and you get shrapnel of your energy just goes all into your body. And that shrapnel, that wound just stays there and stays unhealed. Just think if you had a cut on your finger that never healed, or something in your body that just never healed because you never put a Band-Aid on it. You never fix it. It's just there. So with this tapping, what it seems to do is it goes around to different parts, organs of your body. It finds out where that shrapnel is and gently pulls it out and puts that energy back home where it's supposed to be. And when that energy is out, instead of all like this, it comes back home again. I watch people and their craziness just deflates like a balloon. And then it doesn't ever go back there again. It's just amazing. It just helped. But what I was going to say is just seeing how this is all connected, like Natasha said, and I told this one story one time, you guys have heard it, but the audience probably hasn't, but it's apropos for today. I had a nurse. I went in for an annual checkup and got to be talking to the nurse. She wanted to know what I did. I told her what I did about past life regression. And she says, "Oh my God, my husband's been talking about that. You got to come see him. He's been perfectly healthy and everything. And then just all at once now he's having to go on dialysis, and he can't understand why, because he's a healthy guy." So I went to go see him, and he's Japanese. He went quickly into trance, and when he took him to a past life, all of a sudden he's in this field, a farm field, 19 years old. He's helping his dad on the farm. He knows his name is Doug. He says his brother and sister call him Dougie. Then I had him go to an important event in his life, and he's in the jungles. He's in the Pacific Island in the jungles, and he's an American soldier fighting the Japanese. And I say, "Is this where you're going to die?" And he's going, "Yeah, yeah." I said, "What's happening?" He said, I'm fighting. And then boom, he got stabbed by the Japanese soldier. So he's an American soldier, gets stabbed by a Japanese soldier. And I said, "Where'd they stab you?" It's right where he's having dialysis now, So when he came out, that's all we did for the day. And his eyes were just trying to put all this together. Like, wow, I was an American soldier, boom, and now I'm in this lifetime and I'm a Japanese person. Got to be some kind of connection there, So as I got more skills, I called back to say, well, let's go to the in-between lives. Let's find out what that was all about. And his wife said, "Regan, I'm sorry to tell you, but he died." So we never got that far. But that just shows you how he was feeling a connection in his life now. Like you're saying, somehow this life is connected to everything that's happened before, So, and that's what, like Natasha, sometimes Natasha, people can just come to you and they say, well, I have this issue. Can you tell me, does it maybe come from some other lifetime? And then, you do your magic in a way and you go, oh my God, and then you can help them put it together,
Well, and there's sometimes where I see that there's consecutive lifetimes where they died in previous lifetimes, they've passed early in their soul's life. And the soul has to, in this lifetime, know it can survive past that timeline. And so then it's practicing, it's that reawakening into going, oh, I can live longer than those moments. And how are you going to do it? How is it that vitality is going to happen? How are we going to navigate through that? And it's kind of interesting when you see that repetition of souls passing at a certain age, and then in this lifetime they're living past it. It's almost like they're lost souls. They don't know where to go. They don't know what to do because they haven't really had that experience past a certain age from that eldership moments. And it's just, I'm just going to say, it's just interesting that as we do that, and I can almost see that in this person that you were talking about, that he had certain lifetimes that he didn't move on. And then he had certain moments that were life altering for him. And like the stabbings and that kind of thing. And so then his body just says, okay, time for me to go.
Yeah, it was real quick.
Time for me to go.
Well, Kevin, too, if we look at all these soldiers that died, if you looked at the average age on there, and again, it's interesting how this phenomenon of dying in war happens to the young, Oh,
yeah.
I'm guessing that it's probably 80% or better, or probably, guys that are under 25 anyway. And that's interesting how they come down and they're here a short time, given their lives to help. It's almost like I'm thinking of it as like little Jesuses, they came down to do something to save everybody else, just like what he did, And Jesus was only in his 30s, so it's like they say the good die young, and that happens, I guess.
That's true. And well, because of the draft, like in Vietnam and even in the Civil War, 600,000 guys died.
That amazes me.
That's just crazy. And Natasha's right. A lot of them were 15, 16, 17 years old. And it was, I can't imagine now, both of you guys, what's it like why would a soul want to volunteer for that kind of duty?
Oh boy. I think there's a myriad of reasons.
Yeah. It's partly the lessons of that lifetime, lessons of whatever that lifetime is, that we go on and beyond that moment. And sometimes, as I'm hearing now, it's that lifetime to be less selfish.
Yeah,
it's a selflessness.
That's the ultimate sacrifice.
It's a selflessness, and so how to become more selflessness in ourselves to be there in that moment. We all have every lifetime has a theme for us to experience something, and we never know what that theme is. There's lifetimes where we are to learn how to take somebody else's life, and how that is a repercussion. And then there's some that are about selflessness. Some of them is about, the value. Do I need to have money to have value or not? It's interesting to see the different aspects of why we are truly here.
Yeah, I had a big aha moment this week with a client that I had, which was a culmination of all the others I've ever had. And when they go to a past life and they see themselves pass away, and then they're in their soul self looking at their funeral, as researchers with the Newton Institute, we always say, okay, every life has a reason and a purpose. I mean, what did you learn in that lifetime? And every single time, every client has told me what they learned. They didn't ever go, well, I don't know, or it could have been this. They know what they were shown, what they learned. And then what's amazing is that the majority of the time we can tie that into what's going on in their current life. Now, that the lesson that they learned there and they can see how that's helped them in their current life, or if they're still working some more on that same lesson, you know. So I just thought it was interesting, because when I ask the question, and they hesitate. Sometimes it's just quiet for like 30 seconds or a minute, and then they come out with this most profound thing. Well, I learned this, and the lessons they learn sometimes are so simple, but like one of them was just like, because it was just the classic great husband, kids. She loved just working with the kids and like home teaching them, learning to grow things on their own and that. And it was just the most beautiful husband. He never cheated on her or anything. No, it was just a beautiful. And it was just, her lesson was just to show her how peaceful and wonderful a life can be, you know, because this time she's got the complete opposite thing going on. So she didn't even think it was possible to have a man that wasn't, you know, horrible, you know, or something like that. But she was shown through that and reliving that for a little while during that past life regression. She's going, wow, that's possible. Oh my God, that felt so wonderful. You know, hopefully now she can kind of change her attitude a little bit in this lifetime. So.
Well, she needs to, because that would be really helpful if she to change her attitude towards stuff. Natasha, what do you got to say for yourself? I got nothing.
You got nothing.
That's all I can say. I got nothing.
You know, our soul's journey is an amazing experience. It's amazing how limiting our minds are to be able to experience that. And you know, if you think about what's in the mind, other people's beliefs, you know, our own positive and negative chatter, you know, just the brain cells being fired off. Then we have life experiences that circle around on us, you know, and I'm, you know, that life altering experience to me is the shell shock of life. And, you know, there's many times, even for me, I grab a selenite stone, which is the long, and I comb out my own aura, because even sometimes going to work around all these kids can get clingy, and I just need to clean them out. You know, I also have, you know, certain things, tools that help me dig out little things.
That looks a little dangerous there.
It's not. It's got a flat point, but you know, it's that you know, digging out those things that get attached to you in your soul, you know, to clean out. But that's the thing is that many of us, through our spirituality or lack of, doesn't give us the tools to be able to know to get ourselves up and out of our own holes. And it's amazing. Like, I had a session, and you know, she was here. Everything I told her, she basically knew, because she's telling everybody else, but she forgot about herself. She forgot about herself. And many times it's that waking up. As I have a fly flying around, it's about, you know, flies are here to clean up what we leave behind. You know, they're very much cleaners. They interact with life. You know, wouldn't you want to be a fly on the wall in somebody else's life, just to get a kind of a different perspective? And I think, now that I think about it, that's probably why I'm friends with flies. It's because I always try to get their other perspective. You know, it's just, we're in this moment of life. It's like, it's time for us, if we can, to pick ourselves up and kind of just say, okay, it's worth me being here again. It's worth me being here again on this planet.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a minute ago, I wasn't sure I wanted to be here in this lifetime. Now it's time to just say, yes, I want to be here. What can I do to get there? And it's called talking to someone, communicating, Googling it, YouTubing it, whatever you can do to find a doorway into something to get yourself to where you can.
Yeah. You know, too, I was thinking about, we always talk about all the soldiers that died, but I'm sure there's probably, I don't know, I don't know the statistics, but I'm guessing 10 times more people that died, civilians that died. because we always talk about the soldiers that gave their life. Or what about all these people in these villages and towns that just because like Hitler wanted to rule the world, not only did he help exterminate so many of the Jews, look how many of his own people that he caused to be exterminated from our bombs and things like that. All these innocent people, whatever you want to call innocent, but like, yeah, sometimes like even in the war where we took out Saddam Hussein, when they finally came out with statistics of all the civilians that died, my jaw dropped. Oh, we don't talk about that,
No.
I mean, because it's who in a sense, I understand it's just human nature. It's like we're vulnerable ourselves. We have to say, oh, sorry, we got a few bad guys, but we got 5 times as many civilians killed over there, who were totally innocent. But that's the horror of war, so there's so many people that had to go through that for so many, probably so many different reasons that only they themselves could find out, each particular person. Why I do know of a couple of souls, like in 9/11, that people they'd been talked to afterwards from the other side, and they said that they were just led to be there today, there to die, so on the other side they could help escort, because they were more highly advanced souls. So in a sense, they volunteered to give up their life, so they would be helping all the souls that were looking around, not knowing where to go from the other side. So
to answer your question, Regan, or to give you a statistic, that I was looking at in preparation for the show today, 24 million people in Russia died.
Gosh,
during that war. And the reason that they don't bring stuff up like that is purely political motives.
Yeah.
Neither of you ever hear of a town called Dresden?
Dresden, no.
Germany. Dresden, Germany. There was a blanket bombing that we did there and killed 40,000 civilians in one night.
Yeah, and the same with bombing Tokyo. We hear about the 2 H bombs, but the bombing that they did of Tokyo or something killed way more than the atomic bombs did, and they just burned it to the ground. But I didn't hear about that until a few years ago. I feel like,
and that's why this Memorial Day, I am putting it around this world. I'm sending love around this world for everyone who has something to have a memorial for. Yes, I honor those that did stood up and with a gun, and did. It's not about this or that. There's just something right now that we've had so many the vibration of so much, like the South and over in India and Pakistan and a lot of that region. The earth is asking to be healed, and Africa too. I mean, Africa has had battles for millions of years, and the land is asking to be healed, and that's the love I want to send, is to help the land to heal so that the people can heal.
Yeah. And to remember, not just in the wars, but to the firemen that run in to save somebody and lose their life, or the mom or the dad that stands in front of their child and gets a bullet and dies just to save their loved ones, all those people, we need to put out love to and thank them for their sacrifice and what they did. I think even in the Bible, doesn't Jesus say, I forget the name of the passage or whatever, but it's like he who gives his life for somebody else, that's the ultimate like sacrifice or something, when you really think about it. That's so selfless. And it seems like mothers have that instinctively. They don't, I think a lot of people do, because in these times when they did this, the firemen will say afterwards, the ones that survived, they go, why did you run into that burning building? And he goes, I don't know, I just had to, I mean, no. Right, or the guy that jumps on a grenade to save his friends, whoa, that's something there. We've all heard of that happening. So, how do we, because today we're here to try to talk to everybody about not having wars. How about let's just think of that concept for a while? how about everybody just love everybody? I mean, we know that this is a planet people come down to learn, and there's lessons. So you're going to get a lot of unevolved souls mixed in with intermediate souls and advanced souls. And that's kind of how it works down here. But 3 times in the last month, when I asked my clients if they lived in another dimension or another planet, and all 3 of them said yes. I said, well, can you take me there and describe it a little bit? And all 3 of them were in places where they didn't have war, where everybody got along, and that's what's kind of a shock to them when they come into the human body, and all of a sudden everybody, all this petty stuff, everybody's like we're a warring planet, as beautiful as the planet is. If you look down from above right now of all, and you could zoom in on right now at this moment, how many people are running around trying to kill somebody or keep from being killed. It's going on right now as we're talking, like there'll be more people dead at the end of the day that were like us today. And then, sometime today they're going to get shot or killed because of some idea.
Of a perception.
Right. Yeah. Until we can see that all the religions are tied together, all of the colors and plate and people and everything on this planet. And like you say, we're all one in a sense. When we hurt anybody else other than ourselves, we're hurting ourselves. Even we're hurting our own family, but like I just was thinking, Tony was talking about the time he was kidnapped, and oh my God, he filled in some of the stuff. It was terrifying for him, how for 2 weeks he was there, and he befriended the big mob boss, and the mob boss had him as his driver for a while, and then but it was making everybody jealous, there. So he knew he was going to either be killed by one of the other guys there because the boss was giving him attention, or the boss was just going to say, oh, okay, time to kill you now. I mean, weird. So I thought, we want to think everybody's good, but if I was down in that situation, there'd be some people down there that wouldn't think twice about ending my life, because wherever they're at in their evolution of soul,
And Susan has something highly intelligent to say.
She always does.
War won't end until we see ourselves.
There you go. Exactly, Susan. Exactly. But look at the good. Look at like us today. We try to do that the best we can, and we know lots of people that do that too. There's a lot of good people in this planet. Lots and lots of good. Just see, like after a disaster, and everybody's best self comes out for about 2 weeks, and is loving and kind and helping their neighbor that they wanted to shoot the day before. But we have it. We can do it. We can do it.
Well, you're finding that more people are more interested in your work because they want to find out more about themselves in a different context. Same thing with Natasha. They want to find out how they can change their life for the better, and change the lives of people around them. Because everybody, I think everybody's sick and tired. Not everybody, but a lot of people are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah, everybody's feeling like their candle is like the candle of life is kind of like dwindling down, and it's like when we change our perception, we change the candle.
Yes.
And it's amazing how when we do change that metaphorical candle, to light up a new one, what good can I bring into this world? What light can I bring into this world? If we can do that, it's amazing how much better our life feels.
It is. Yeah. And changing your perception. People think they're stuck in their perceptions, but you're not. I mean, you can sometimes change your whole outlook on the world if you just sit with yourself for a minute and you're looking at some negative situation you're going through and say, okay, intuitively, you can look at that. Other people that know your situation will look at it differently. Choose one of those other perceptions. Just close your eyes. You're your friend looking at your situation, and your friends see more in you, and your friends telling you, "Hey, come on, you're better than that. You've got that within you. You could accomplish this if you wanted to." And just look at that for a minute. And I've seen people all of a sudden they picture that in their mind, and their perception immediately changes, and a lot of their problem goes away that quick. By just changing the way that they look at something. And I think that's why the work that we do, we try to say, okay, we're just going to give you here today in a Life Between Life session and in a session from Natasha, what we're telling you today is from a picture that's a little wider than what you're looking at. And when you have this much more information, you can solve your issues a lot quicker. Because so many of us, we're looking at only this little bit of the whole situation. when we should be looking like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, you know, change your perception, change your life. And it's not that hard. You can have it happen almost what will feel like immediate, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But if you need help with that, you might want to go have a hypnotherapy session or a session with a medium or somebody like that. Regan, do you know anybody like that can help them?
Let me think. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to help people. Matter of fact, I did my first Life Between Life Zoom session this week, and it was an A plus. And she was in Iowa, and I'm in California. And over Zoom, she went right to a past life. An angel guide was there right afterwards to see her, and then we went and we had a whole list of characters. She had like 15 important people in her life, and on the other side, she was able to talk to every single one of them. So she got perspective why all these people are in her life. She knows what her mission is. All that can be discovered in a Life Between Life session, which is something anybody can do. About 90% of the people that I see go to a past life. They see themselves pass away. There's a guide or an angel, and we ask them, can we go to heaven for a little while? And they go, sure, come on. And they're happy to show you around. You can go before counsel, ask any questions you have pre-prepared for your session. You can visit loved ones are there. And the best part of it all, as we found out in the research, is that there's always a part of everybody in heaven. Like when you decide to come down into body, you don't send all of your soul energy into the body. So your higher self, in a sense, is there. And I watch when people merge with their higher self, and it's just, oh my gosh, it's just amazing when that happens. So if you want some of those answers or something, go to my website, visittheafterlife.com. You can actually watch a whole video of someone going through a session on there. There's a lot about past lives. There's a free book you can get on there about reincarnation is real, about the latest research. If you go to the to the contact page and say, hey, Regan, I'd like a free copy, and I'll send that to you. So anyway, and then I also do regular therapy for PTSD, fears and phobias, anxiety, depression, using regular techniques. If you think this is too far out for you, although you wouldn't be listening to the show so much, I guess already you would have tuned us out. But yeah, right? They go, oh, guys are crazy. I'm just getting here. I'm going to go back to my beer, you know, or my hot dog for Memorial Day, you know.
Some people are endlessly curious.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's easy. Visit theafterlife.com. Phone number's on there. Contact me. Happy to answer any questions. If you decide to have a session, it'll be on your timeline. And if you don't, I can recommend a lot of books. You know, I was reading the other day, some people don't need to go to Natasha or I, just believing that what Natasha does is real and believing what this research that we do at the Newton Institute is real, then they live their lives different because they get the bigger picture without even having a session, you know?
That's true. That's true. Natasha, if somebody wants to come visit you, what do they do?
They can reach me at angelicclarifications.com. And this is my wheelhouse in a way of helping someone get through their life differently. That's why I have personal awareness coach in my title. It's that personal awareness to how we can navigate a little bit different. I've had people say, you know, hey, I've been going to a counselor for a year and one visit with you, and I have a different perspective. And it's neat to see someone, get there and move forward with their life. Like I tell people, it's kind of like sometimes you have to push update the computer system. You know, there's the updates that happen and your computer doesn't change. Your computer doesn't change, but yet there's the updates. Well, that's kind of what happens with the work that Regan and I do is that it's like updating a computer. We don't necessarily change, but it's the updates that kind of lay over us and kind of give us a different perspective. And sometimes we don't necessarily feel comfortable with them. That's why I tell people, hey, these ideas, just wear them in your back pocket for a week and see how they kind of float into your life a little differently. It's kind of like the getting the new phone, or updating your phone. It's that moment of saying, oh, I don't really like those updates. Oh, but wait a minute, I can actually do this now, and I can actually do that now. And oh, look at over here. Actually, I can, I didn't know I can contact that way now. So when we work with life and we work with going through things, it's amazing where that road will weave us to get us to our greater good. So angelicclarifications.com.
Very well said. Very nice. Okay, does either of you have a closing comment that you'd like to leave our listeners with that will resonate with them for the rest of their lives and change their lives forever?
Well, I think just one quick thing is just if you close your eyes for a minute and open your heart a little bit, and just if you can imagine like this white light, the Holy Spirit, or this what we call the Ek energy, or the whatever, coming through your body and just going out to all those people that sacrifice themselves for the greater good, and just thanking them, blessing them for what they did. Be a good little spiritual exercise.
It is. And I just want everyone to know too, that if you're feeling that moment right now that says, I don't want to be here, remember that if you talk to anyone who had those moments and you talk to them 3-6 months later, they're saying, I am amazed at where my life is now.
There is help, right?
There is help. There is a purpose for moving forward. You will find it. It's just believing that you are here to do something. So please stay here. Stay here to move forward in your life, because if anything, your family and your higher self will be appreciative that you walked forward.
Yeah.
You walked forward.
My brother-in-law committed suicide when he was 43 in 2004. And I keep thinking about him, saying to myself, he has missed a whole lot of fun over the last 16 years. And so don't sell yourself short. You can be okay. Seek somebody like Regan or Natasha out, and they can, if they feel like you need somebody else's help, they can point you in the right direction. You're not alone. And Natasha's right when she said most of these military guys are strong and they don't need any help, but your wife does, your kids do, in the cycle get help.
Right.
And everybody has an angel around them.
They
to
do.
give them a hug when you need it.
Yeah.
So remember, if you feel something that is wrapped around you and it's not your arms, it is someone who cares deeply for you, and believe that. And no matter what you believe in, they are there for you.
And that's what coming from research now too, and the 65,000 people the Newton Institute has helped, we found out in every case, everybody has a guide or an angel or someone looking out for them. Everybody does. So, the next time you throw a piece of trash on the floor that's not yours, you don't go to the trash can, your guy's going, okay, could have done better.
And they'll save it up for you. They'll talk about it later. Thank you guys for being here, and we're going to be here next week again at 4:00.
4:00, yeah.
Yep, and then in the future we may change time a little bit, but we'll be around about the same time, so we'll see.
Yeah.
In any event, everybody have a wonderful day. Thank you, you too.
But Kevin, before I forget, if somebody is watching this, a month or two from now, they can still hit the subscribe button, can't they?
Yes, they can. Doggone it.
If you're watching this, and we just try to talk about everything from a spiritual perspective. We have a lot of experience in that era, and so we don't know everything, but we know there's a lot of things we could probably help people with. So hit the subscribe button, and then we'll keep you informed and when the next shows and everything are.
And in addition to that, I have 303 episodes up now. So we're busy. So you guys have a great day, and everybody take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time.
And blessings.
Hey, and thanks for listening to this episode all the way to the end. Hey, pretty cool. Hey, don't forget to follow us so you can receive regular updates and new posts. And remember, take care of each other, because each other's all we got. See you next time on My Independence Report.